everyone. Welcome to Live Interactive English. I'm Mike, and today we are going to be getting into a mystery that a lot of you might have wondered about in the past few months. It's true, in the spring, especially in the spring, early summer of this year, it was incredibly hard to find eggs. Did you notice this? Did you notice that supermarkets had no eggs in them? Did you notice that your favorite breakfast shop might have certain things on the menu that they said, oh, sorry, we can't make that for you. It's got eggs in it and we don't have any. Or if you were lucky enough to find some eggs, did you notice that they were suddenly very expensive? You might have also noticed that chicken also became harder to find in supermarkets. Was there a connection here? And even if there wasn't, why were eggs rarer than diamonds for a few months earlier this year? What was going on? Well, we're going to get into that in our article with a terrible, terrible pun in the title. A pun when we take an English word and use it in a slightly different way. Why so egg-spensive? Because they were expensive, expensive. It's not an excellent pun, but it's okay. An introduction to factors that affect egg supply. Are you excited to read this article? Are you filled with expectation? Well, don't worry, we're about to read the article.
Over the past 3 years, eggs have become more expensive. The price increase was caused by several factors that were related to the global egg market and how eggs are produced. The first major problem began during the COVID-19 pandemic, when it became more expensive to ship feed to chicken farms. This raised costs for farmers. In addition, during COVID-19 lockdowns, people were stuck at home. This development led to a sudden decrease in demand for eggs. Therefore, farmers scaled down their egg production.
All right, so yes, why were eggs so expensive? Well, we're going to be learning by looking at the factors that affect egg supply. Now, this is egg supply, but you might have noticed that other things recently have been expensive too, and some of the things that made eggs expensive were also affecting other things. It's just the way of the world these days, I'm afraid to say, but hopefully things will get better. All right, the article begins. Over the past 3 years, eggs have become more expensive. I have to admit, I don't always notice the price of eggs, but when they become so rare that they just don't have any, that's when all of us would notice. But the price of many things has been going up, so I'm not surprised that eggs have become a little bit more expensive year over year for the past 3 years. Now, what caused that? Well, the price increase was caused by several factors that were related to the global egg market and how eggs are produced. That's why articles like this are wonderful, because a lot of these things that happen and affect our lives are actually very complicated and have many different moving parts, many different parts to it, and often we have to have a global understanding to know why eggs in Taiwan are expensive, because the whole world is connected these days. And that's why we would use an adjective like global. Global talks about the globe, the world, the planet, Earth, the place that we all live, unless you're an alien watching this program. But yes, global communications is easy these days with the internet and internet phone calls. Global transportation. People are moved by airplanes, and products and goods are moved by ship or road or rail or something like that. And global politics. When the President of America and the President of China are meeting, for example, that is a meeting of global leaders. So it's a global issue. It says the organization tracked global temperatures over the past 50 years. Not just temperatures in one place, but for the whole planet, or global temperatures. Okay, so what happened? Well, I think part of it is easy to guess. The first major problem began during the COVID-19 pandemic, when it became more expensive to ship feed to chicken farms. Very interesting. So certain places that they were making feed or food for farm animals, they were having trouble getting it to the actual farms, and getting it there cost a lot more because there were fewer ships and trains and stuff to carry it, so everything went up in price. This raised costs for farmers. So farmers now have to pay more for the food, and the farmers don't want to lose money, so they have to raise prices for chickens and their eggs. In addition, during COVID-19 lockdowns, people were stuck at home. This development led to a sudden decrease in demand for eggs. Interesting. So of course, with more people staying home, they weren't going out to restaurants. Many of the restaurants were just closed. So eggs were not being sold to restaurants and places, and the people staying at home, they're not eating that many eggs every day. So the demand for eggs, or how many eggs were needed in the market, went down. Therefore, farmers scaled down their egg production. Farmers started to think, well, I'm not going to get a bunch of new chickens because I can't sell the eggs of the chickens I have now. So of course, the number of eggs available goes down as the price is going up. And we had this word decrease. We can use this both as a verb and a noun, but in either case it means going down in number or value or amount or something like that. The temperature decreases after the summer as we go to the winter. There, I'm using it as a verb, but in the article we use it as a noun, and you might notice, for example, you might notice a decrease in the temperature between summer and winter. Or if you're on a diet, you're hoping to see a decrease in your body weight, right? As you exercise and eat healthy food, you want your pounds and your weight in pounds or kilograms to go down, to decrease. Here's another example. The cafe experienced a sharp decrease in customers last month. Ooh, maybe they had some bad reviews online. The number of customers went down over a month. We also had the verb to scale something. You can usually scale up or scale down. When you scale up, you're making things bigger, you're growing. You're scaling down, you're shrinking, you're getting smaller. We often use this when talking about business and a business's plans for the future. We plan to scale up production in the winter because more people want to buy our warm clothes or something like that. And in the summer, the same company will scale down production because they don't sell so many warm clothes during the warm summer months. So to scale up would mean to get bigger or grow. To scale down means to get smaller or shrink. For example, they decided to scale down the party and host only a few people. They were going to have a band and 70 guests. Then they realized that's a lot of time and money, so they decided to have 10 guests, cancel the band, and just have a simple dinner. All right, let's take a break, and then we'll be back to find out more about the exciting world of eggs.
Hello， 大家好，我是 Hanny。这2天的课程要来探讨鸡蛋为什么这么贵。那过去3年以来，鸡蛋变得越来越贵，这其实是跟全球鸡蛋市场还有鸡蛋生产方式有关。那么第一个主要问题就是在 COVID-19 的疫情期间，那时候运送饲料到养鸡场变得更加昂贵，那就增加了鸡农的成本。还有在这个封城期间人们受困在家里，不能出去外食嘛，那不少店家到后来也都撑不下去，关门停业了。这样的发展也导致了鸡蛋需求骤减，因此呢，鸡农就缩减了鸡蛋产量。我们来看单字 global， 它就是形容全球的、全世界的。Mike 老师在讲到全球交通运输的时候呢，他有提到 rail 这个字 ，R-A-I-L， 它表示铁轨或是铁路的意思。再看到 decrease 或是念作 decrease， 它是可以当名词或动词来表达减少、降低。那它的相反词是 increase 或是念作 increase， 就表示增加。我们再看到 scale 当动词，它可以表达改变什么的尺寸。 成大小。当我们说 scale something up 或是 scale up something， 表示增大、扩大。那如果是 scale something down 或是 scale down something， 就是缩减或是缩小的意思。好，那这边一个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，那我们来看这个重点是 how 可以引导名词子句，在句中当主词、受词或是补语用。当主词的时候，我们要把名词子句视为单数哦，那后面就搭配单数动词。举例来说 ，I don't know how he got my phone number。我不知道他怎么会有我的电话号码。那名词子句 how he got my phone number 是当受词，也就是 know 的受词。再造一个例句是 how they met was hilarious。他们相遇的方式很爆笑。那名词子句 how they met 是当主词，所以我们后面搭配单数动词 was。好，接着回到课文中。
However, as lockdowns ended, demand rapidly returned. Meat also became more expensive, so people began buying more eggs. The supply of eggs couldn't keep up with the sudden increase in demand, so the price of eggs went up. Then there's the avian flu. It caused chicken farms globally to close down or pause egg production. If avian flu is found at a chicken farm, thousands of birds might be killed to stop its spread. Restocking or starting a chicken farm takes time and money, so the flu made the global supply of eggs even more unstable.
All right, so going back a year or two or even 3, clearly COVID-19 had a big effect on the price of eggs. More expensive food and lower demand meant fewer eggs and higher prices. But that's all in the past, right? Well, yes, but it still kind of continued affecting the price of eggs, as we learn. However, as lockdowns ended, demand rapidly returned. So about a year ago, the world started to kind of come out of the COVID lockdown period. People went back to school, went back to work, began to travel more, restaurants opened up again and things like that. But of course, when that happens, things can get expensive again. Meat also became more expensive, so people began buying more eggs. Interesting. So the price of chicken or beef or pork started to go up. People still needed to get protein in their diet. People started to eat more eggs because they were cheaper than meat like beef or pork. The supply of eggs couldn't keep up with the sudden increase in demand, so the price of eggs went up. This is a classic example of if there's a high demand and a high amount of things, the price will be relatively low. If there's a low demand and a low amount, the price will go up. And it's kind of a balancing act like that. So as more people were buying more eggs, that's great, but with fewer eggs, that's not great. Now we just have expensive eggs. And then nature threw in another little problem for us, not COVID-19, chicken COVID. Then there's the avian flu. That's right, the avian flu, bird flu, as it's sometimes called, H5N1, I don't know. Anyways, we've all heard about this. This avian flu, it caused chicken farms globally to close down or pause egg production. Many farms had to kill off many chickens to stop the spread of this dangerous disease. Dangerous for birds and also potentially dangerous for humans. So this required a lot of farmers to pause their plans and pause egg production. To pause is basically to stop something for a short period of time. You're not quitting, you're not stopping and never coming back. You're kind of taking a rest or something like that. You might notice on your phone when you're watching videos or on your remote control at home, there's a pause button. You could pause the movie and the picture will stay there on the screen. It won't stop. And maybe you go to the bathroom, you come back, and then you hit play again, and you continue watching the movie without having to restart it from the beginning. So a pause is like a timeout. It's like a short rest or a short break in the action. For example, Tim paused the video to answer the phone. A classic case where using your pause button is very easy and convenient. Now, back to the avian flu. Yeah, it's a serious thing and a serious problem, especially for chickens. If avian flu is found at a chicken farm, thousands of birds might be killed to stop its spread. And of course, this happened in many places. I think here in Taiwan, many farmers were hit by this. And of course, it's a terrible thing. And also financially, it's a big problem. Restocking or starting a chicken farm takes time and money. So the flu made the global supply of eggs even more unstable. As different parts of the world were fighting avian flu at different times, it meant having a reliable source of eggs became a real problem. Things weren't reliable. You couldn't depend on them or trust them. They were unstable or unreliable. You weren't sure what was going on. If something is unstable, you don't have a lot of confidence in that. It could move, it could switch, it could change, it could cause problems. If you've ever gotten into a small boat, you know probably that you should get down very low, keep your weight very low in the boat. If you try to stand in the boat, whoa, it will be very unstable and it will be very easy for you to flip the boat over and fall into the water. In the same way, if you have a table with 4 legs and one leg is shorter than the others, the table will be unstable. It won't be solid, and you certainly wouldn't want to climb on it because it could fall. For example, the news says that the weather will be unstable throughout the day. Unstable weather means you can expect sunny times or sunny hours in the morning, rain in the afternoon, cold in the evening. Who knows, but it's very unpredictable. All right, guys, thanks for joining us. We hope you'll come back tomorrow for another excellent article about eggs, and I expect to see you back here then. Take care.
刚刚提到，因为疫情封城的影响，鸡蛋需求骤减，那么鸡农缩减了鸡蛋的产量。然而，随着封城结束，这个需求迅速恢复了，肉变贵了，所以人们就开始买更多鸡蛋喽。那鸡蛋的供应跟不上这个需求快速增加嘛，所以呢，鸡蛋的价格它就上涨了。接着呢，还碰到禽流感 avian flu， 这导致全球养鸡场关闭或是暂停鸡蛋生产。如果这个养鸡场有发现禽流感的话，为了阻止它传播，成千上万的鸡可能都会被扑杀。那么要重新饲养或者是启动这个养鸡场是需要时间跟金钱的，所以禽流感就使得全球的鸡蛋供应变得更不稳定了。我们看单字 pause， 它是动词，表示暂停、停顿。那么 unstable 是形容词，形容不稳定的、波动的。那它是由字首 un 表示否或是非，然后再加上形容词 stable 是形容稳定的。稳固的，所以加在一起就是不稳定的咯。好，那么 Mike 老师在讲解时呢，他有提到 unreliable， 那是形容不可靠的、不能信赖的，还有提到 unpredictable， 则是形容不可预测的、难以预料的。好，这边2个重点，我们进入文法时间。好，我们来看第一个重点是 keep up with 的常见用法。那么第一种是表达跟上什么，与什么并驾齐驱，像 Can you slow down a bit? I can't keep up with you. 你可以慢一点吗？我跟不上你耶。那么第二个意思可以表达与什么保持联系，这时候就会跟 keep in touch with 意思差不多。举例来说 I keep up with my friends through Facebook， 我透过脸书与朋友保持联系。那第二重点是动名词，也就是动词 ing 去当主词的时候呢，要视为第三人称单数名词，所以后面是搭配单数型的动词。例如Traveling is a good way to broaden your horizons. 旅行是拓展视野的一个好方法。好，那么以上是今天的讲解，同学别走开，马上回来哦。
Over the past 3 years, eggs have become more expensive. The price increase was caused by several factors that were related to the global egg market and how eggs are produced. The first major problem began during the COVID-19 pandemic, when it became more expensive to ship feed to chicken farms. This raised costs for farmers. In addition, During COVID-19 lockdowns, people were stuck at home. This development led to a sudden decrease in demand for eggs. Therefore, farmers scaled down their egg production. However, as lockdowns ended, demand rapidly returned. Meat also became more expensive, so people began buying more eggs. The supply of eggs couldn't keep up with the sudden increase in demand, so the price of eggs went up. Then there's the avian flu. It caused chicken farms globally to close down or pause egg production. If avian flu is found at a chicken farm, thousands of birds might be killed to stop its spread. Restocking or starting a chicken farm takes time and money, so the flu made the global supply of eggs even more unstable.
Hello everybody, welcome! Today we are going to the Central Fountain in Chiayi. Now this used to be part of the city wall, which was later destroyed by an earthquake. If you go there, you will probably find out about Chen Chengpo, who used to be a famous painter who depicts the fountain in many of his famous paintings. But now it's surrounded by shops and important events are held here, so why don't we watch the video and find out more.
The Central Fountain is located at the roundabout on Zhongshan Road. This roundabout is one of the busiest places in Chiayi. In the past, the fountain was part of the Chiayi city wall. It was also called the Peach's Tip. The wall was damaged by an earthquake and torn down during the period of Japanese rule. This part was later turned into a roundabout with a small fountain in the middle. The famous late oil painter, Chen Chengpo, used to paint here. The Central Fountain can be seen in his works Central Fountain in Chiayi and Downtown Chiayi. These paintings depict what the Central Fountain and people's lives looked like in the past. In 1970, the city mayor, Xi Xian, turned the roundabout into the rainbow-colored Central Fountain present today. Now, there are various shops surrounding the Central Fountain. The fountain also has a spectacular evening light show. A large golden statue was built in 2014 and placed in the middle of the fountain. This statue was built to commemorate Wu Mingjae. He was a pitcher for the Kano baseball team in 1928. He sometimes gets a makeover for the city's events. This fountain is not just a check-in spot for your social media. Many of Chiayi's important events are also held here. The annual Chiayi City International Band Festival is one of these. Symphonic bands from around the world come to Chiayi and gather at the Central Fountain. Local residents and visitors alike come to watch the show. In addition to the band festival, Democratic Night is a well-known campaign in Chiayi City. The night before Election Day, candidates and their respective groups meet at the Central Fountain to garner support from the local citizens. The deafening sounds of political campaigning fill the air at the Central Fountain. The Central Fountain is a glorious place. It means a lot to the people of Chiayi.
Being located in the central of Chiayi, the Central Fountain is definitely a place for people to all come together and experience the heart of Chiayi. And what I think is cool is going at night because it's all lit up and looks really beautiful. So if you're in Chiayi, be sure not to miss the Central Fountain. We'll see you next time.